What's up, Clipper Nation? This is BJ Mathews, aka B Jizzle. Welcome to Bleav in Clippers, your number one Clipper network, where you guys get all of your daily knowledge fed by yours truly. Make sure you guys go and check us out on all social medias: Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram and YouTube. Also, if you guys have not already, check out our last episode where I spoke to Mrs. Mint J, and we talked about all things with the LA Clippers last season going to next year. You guys do not want to miss out what we have to y'all. Last but not least, go LA Clippers. All right, so another great guest for y'all today, man. LA Clipper ambassador, friend of the show as well. Seen him at all the Clipper games this past season. Has his own show called Locked On Clippers that we'll be putting into the immediate description box at the duration of this show. Welcome to the show, my man Darian Vaziri, aka DimeDropper. What's good, Dime?
BJ, this is awesome. Appreciate you having me on, and cool to see you spreading your wings in the Clipper content space and just in the content space. And I remember Bleav had a pod for a little bit, and I wondered it just stopped. So it's good to see you take the reins, and that was cool. I didn't even know that you had Mint on your show. Mint's a diehard. She's at all the games, so that's awesome.
Yeah, Mint's that's my girl. She don't talk too much about women with basketball, but she knows her stuff. So I love her and what she brings to the table. But obviously, bro, how have you been? How's everything going with this? You said you're in the off season, you got some rest. So tell me about how the off season been going for you.
Off season's good. We still locked on. I make Clipper content on my own channel, DimeDropper. I make content on games that I go to and weekly content. But locked on up until the month of August, I still have to do 5 episodes a week. So still a grind, man. The offseason never ends for me with the Locked On Clippers job and, talking about Summer League and Jordan Miller and all that. But it is nice to be at a calm point of the season where I feel like we're just like smack dab in the middle of the offseason now and maybe on the beginning, the second half of it. And I don't know, people always are like counting down the days. And I'm not one of those guys. It's not because I'm not excited or I don't love the team, but it's become a lot for me, like on my plate schedule wise. So like I do enjoy the break in life and being able to focus more on myself than just making content all the time.
Yeah, it's a grind, and something a lot of people don't really understand. Like when you pick up content, especially for an NBA team, as much as you've been putting, how much work you do, it's not something where it's just like you take time off. It's like an all around, all year type of deal preseason, off season, in season, summer league. So definitely appreciate what you do, man. All the content that you drop. Huge fan of your work as well. But let's get into the subject at hand. Let's get into the subject we got with Kawhi Leonard. Obviously, we got a lot of content that we can actually talk about since the season hasn't started yet. And I presumably saw a clip from Patrick Beverley speaking about Kawhi Leonard, which I'm going to play in a little bit. But, bro, how frustrating has it been to watch Y be out for 4 out of the last 5 postseasons? And how unusual and how weird has it been for you personally?
Oh, man, it's been like the worst nightmare you could have imagined when we got him, because when we got him, it was like the best day in franchise history. Like a lot of Clipper fans, including myself, we thought we were guaranteed at least one championship because we're getting Kawhi Leonard at the height of his career, coming off a ring. Like no one in NBA history had ever won a championship, was the finals MVP, had the keys to the franchise, and just said, no, you know what? I'm going to leave. It's never happened before. So that was crazy. The fact that we got him was, I felt one of the best days of my life as a sports fan. And 5 years later, we've seen him in one postseason fully healthy. And that was the first one when he was a member, or he was playing in the bubble. And that is just, we've never had a full postseason with Kawhi in front of the fans. Like it's insane to me. It's so devastating. Chris Paul and Blake Griffin were injury prone, and that era had to come to an end because of injuries, in my opinion. But I never would have imagined that this would have been 5 times worse in terms of injuries. Like this has been, who could have scripted this? And of course it happens to the Clippers. It's always injury luck and bad luck with the Clippers, but it sucks because I genuinely feel, BJ, that 5 years into this, I don't have many great memories watching Kawhi Leonard outside of some regular season games. Like that 2021 first round against Dallas was the highlight, but having Kawhi on the team hasn't been fun. It's been a lot of, we get excited for a bit, and then we get let down. And it's not necessarily his fault. His body breaks down. It is what it is. Some guys are just more injury prone than others. And we, as the Clippers, always seem to have the injury prone guys. But yeah, man, it's been really, really rough. And you just hope that one time he can stay healthy for a full postseason run. But I really don't know if he can anymore.
So I hear you, because you sound like most of Clipper Nation about probably more than 70%, 80%. Did you think him playing 68 games this year, obviously taking the regular season seriously, like we talked about during the offseason last year, do you feel personally that this was going to be the year that he finally completed the postseason? When it didn't happen, did you lose all hope?
Yeah, because all season it felt like he's shown he can play back-to-backs, and he's shown he can play back-to-backs well. And he says he's pain-free for the first time after games in so long. And so that made me think like this is the one. I mean, 68 games. I didn't think Kawhi would play 60 plus games. He's played 68 games, and then it just turned out to be too much. So yeah, it makes you think, what can we do? Like, because load management, which we're gonna go back to next season. I don't have any source on that, but everyone is kind of just assuming it, which I think would be a fair assumption. Dude, like if Kawhi doesn't play back-to-backs, then it's like James Harden can carry that load some nights, but we're not going to be a serious seed. And I think a lot of Clipper fans have accepted we probably aren't a championship team right now as constructed, but we still think we can be better than people think. But I think the question is, does Kawhi and James Harden believe that we're a real championship contender? Because if not, are they okay with playing for a non-championship contender? I mean, what do you think? Do you think the Clippers? Because I know you're a big Paul George guy. When with the loss of Paul and replacing him with Derek Jones, Nico, Chris Dunn, Mo Bamba, KPJ, you think that's enough to replace that to be in the championship discussion?
It's in a sick, twisted way. Somebody told me this. We've been favorites every year, contenders, since we got 2-1-3 era. The mindset of what he told me was basically that, yo, BJ, we've been contenders every year and it hasn't worked out. Dallas won. They got to the finals this year. No one saw them coming. It could be different where we're not looked at as a favorite when we creep to the back door. The Clippers always seem to do better when nobody sees us.
That is true.
And also, why obviously the playoffs is his playground. It's just he ain't been healthy. The thing about James Harden, I don't think people give a lot of credit to. He does not miss the postseason. No matter who team he on, if you have a certain amount of different type of guys, a lob threat, defense, outside shooting around him, he'll get you to the postseason. He can get you there. He's durable. So all we need to do is get our team to the playoffs. And then whether we're the 5th, the 6th, the 4th, the 3rd, if Kawhi Leonard's on the court, I like my chances. Now, will that be enough for us to beat OKC, beat Minnesota, we'll see. But I think Kawhi still wants to win a championship. I think he wants to prove a lot of his doubters wrong. So, we'll have to just wait and see, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm hoping maybe the Intuit Dome is the, new beacon of good light. Of good luck for Kawhi to be healthy. That for the first time, it's like it was just the stadium we needed. We just needed to change the stadium, and now he's healthy for the playoffs.
Yeah. But I know I want to talk to you about, what I was talking to you earlier about the show, bro. So I want to play a small little clip about what Patrick Beverley said. Obviously, I know you're pretty much a pretty big fan of Patrick Beverley. Are you a fan of him, or are you kind of just whatever because he was a Clipper?
No, I love Pat Bev. I just think he pissed me off when he jumped on the scores table and called and said weak ass Clippers when talking about us in that Instagram live, man. That really hurt to hear because he bled Clipper colors for so long. And but I think one thing that made me like him more is that he went to the Lakers and they didn't like him. He didn't like it.
Yeah.
And it just makes him feel like he's still just one of us, so I love him.
Yeah, I think he was really hurt when he got moved, honestly. That's that emotion. But I'm going to let you kind of hear what he had to say about Kawhi Leonard, on why he gets hurt, and also, what we can look forward to as the season progresses. So here we go.
Work. You had the opportunity to play with some
Kawhi.
Joel.
Kawhi.
That's the hardest worker?
Hardest working motherfucker I've seen in my life.
Okay.
Really? And I mean,
I was just going to ask you who the hardest working.
So when I say hard working, I mean, in the weight room, it's LeBron. On the court, it's Kawhi. Together, weight room and court, Kawhi. Not, I ain't seen nobody like him.
So for all you at home, and everybody questions because he's hurt a lot.
That's why he
hear
hurt.
From the source that the man is the hardest working.
But that's why he be hurt. That's what people don't understand. That's why the be hurt. Okay, man, you got to relax, man. Nah. We work out. I think it's COVID. They stopped season. You know me, man, what the fuck I'm gonna do? Go to Chicago, go to Houston? Nah, that. Man, homies, pack up the Sprinter. Man, we driving to San Diego. Like, what? Man, we driving to San Diego, man. That. Hey, Doc, get us some rebounds from the Clippers, bro. I'm driving to San Diego. I'm about to go work out with Kawhi. I gotta see it. I gotta see it up close. I gotta see it. I gotta see what the fuck is he doing, man. They say let me see it. We drive to San Diego, man. We in that motherfucking lab 3 hours. I'm talking about 9 spots. 11 spots. I ain't never shot 11 spots. Make 20, 11 spots midi. Make 20, 11 spots tray. Make 20, 11 spots pump fake. Make 20, 11 spots pump fake tray. Like, make 20, 11 spots out there. I'm usually 5, maybe 7, maybe 9. You feel you do the 9 spots, 11?
Man.
If you miss
20 together or 20 by yourself?
No.
So, obviously, bro, that was a little bit of a snippet. And, you know, what he had to say about his injury. So it looks like, in a nutshell, Kawhi Leonard is hurt, not because, and we all get it, like his body's not as durable as it could be, but there seems to be a little bit of training that he does in the offseason where he breaks himself down to the point where he gets to the regular season, he has an 82-game schedule. His body just cannot hold up. When you hear that, what goes through your mind, what Patrick Beverley said?
Well, I think Kawhi's work ethic is unquestioned because look at how much he's improved from the first minute he was in the league. I always say this. Maybe I don't say it enough, to be honest. I think I've been watching basketball now live for 20 years. This is gonna be my 20th full season. I've never seen a player improve from the rookie year from a skills perspective like Kawhi. Like Giannis got a lot better, but he just mainly like bulked up, got a little taller, and got more confident. And yeah, he improved a ton of his skills. But Kawhi went from being the improved Bruce Bowen to being compared to Kobe. Like, so that is a crazy, crazy progression. To average 30 points a game in an NBA Finals run and win Finals MVP, I mean, tells me a lot about his work ethic. The thing is, I don't know, maybe he needs people policing him a little bit and saying like, yo, you got to chill. But you know, those kind of guys, Kawhi clearly like playing basketball is his like release, I guess. It's his safe place. You know what I mean? It seems like that's where he feels very comfortable. He really enjoys playing. What surprised me about Kawhi is they say he doesn't really watch basketball that much. So he really is just all about being on the court. He said he only watches when it's about like film and stuff. But weirdly, BJ, what surprised me about Kawhi is that he said that, but he has a very solid like knowledge of the history of basketball. Like he when he was talking about Dr. J, he knew that he won in the ABA and different things like that. And how so Kawhi, I don't know what his journey is in terms of his relationship with like the basketball and watching it. But when it comes to playing, he's always been a junkie. I mean, I think part of it is the knee, though. He's got clearly something that's been going on with his knee for like the last 7 years.
Yeah.
Which is more important than anything. But man, maybe he does need to take it easier. I don't know. The thing about it is, we always hear the Clipper medical staff monitoring him and this and that. Like if what Pat Bev is saying is true, and that's part of why he gets hurt, then we're not doing a good enough job managing him on non-game days. I don't know. I'm happy he didn't play Team USA though because of this, to get more rest.
And I want to talk to you about that as well. But going back to what you said about the Clippers medical staff, it's kind of strange because Blake, Chris, PG, when he came to the Clippers, PG used to play 74, 72 games before he got to the Clippers. Now you see Kawhi being hurt and the same thing. So the medical staff has been kind of like with our best players has been dealing with these injuries. It's kind of been hard for them to, settle it down. When I heard Patrick Beverley speak upon Kawhi working as hard as he works, not just on the basketball court, shooting 100, 200, 300, 600 shots like Kobe used to do, but then he goes into the weight room. You see his body. It's like this guy spends more time in the weight room than anybody around in the league. So you're putting that stress on your body and you're putting your stress on the court. So I think there's some truth in it, man. I think, when you play basketball at the end of the day and you play too, just like I did, it's breaking down the body. It's going against what the human body is. All that running, jumping, pounding. Over time, your body is going to wear out. And if you put so much stress on in a short period of time without an appropriate amount of rest, you asking probably for trouble. So I do think there's some, truth to it, but it's just how they're going to police that. I don't really know how they're going to do that.
Load management, I'm guessing this season. He won't play back-to-backs.
Man, back to the jokes. Back to this guy doesn't ever play jokes. So it's unfortunate, but do you think that this is the year that he's finally going to be healthy and we're going to have a complete year, on your honest opinion?
Honest opinion, no. Because there's no evidence for me to believe that. The only thing that would be saying yes is just my optimism, and I'm a Clipper fan, and I want to tell the fan base good things. But if you take me off the air, I mean, I'm on the air right now, so no, I don't. If you took me off the air, I would say, why should I believe that he's going to be healthy? I already felt that way last year. Think about it, BJ. I felt that way last year. He can't stay healthy. And then I had to go through the 68 games like you mentioned and believe that this is going to be the year, and then he still is injured. So what makes you think now I'm going to believe that he's going to be healthy, especially when Paul George being out is relevant? Like, he's going to have to do more offensively. Simple.
Yeah, I want to kind of talk a little bit about that as well, the additions to the team. So what grade would you give the additions of Jones, Dunn, Porter, Mo Bamba, and you got Nico coming back? What would your grade be through an A through F?
Does that count losing Paul George, or are we just talking about just the additions part?
Yeah, that's everything.
Oh, everything? Oh, man, the offseason? I'd say like a C+, to be honest. We still lost a 22 point per game scorer, and even with him, we didn't look like we had quite enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of it's kind of hard to see what the Clippers are doing. And then the Olympics with the whole Kawhi thing, man. I don't know, because you saw Lawrence Frank. He came out and said that they wanted him to play. It wasn't their call. So what do you think of that? Do you think Lawrence Frank and them felt like Kawhi was really ready to play? Because I think he was fine. I think he could have played. I just think that Team USA just said, nah, we ain't going to let you go out there.
Yeah, it seems like he was good to go. I don't know if it's because he sued Nike way back when, and they provide all the gear and stuff for USA Basketball. But that wouldn't make sense because they selected him and sent him to like the camp. So I don't know about that. And then maybe they figured he may need to be load managed, I guess, during the events. I mean, I don't know. It all seems very fishy to me. But all I know is this: less basketball for Kawhi, which is, since we've talked about how much stress he puts on his body, less basketball for Kawhi. Good for the Clippers.
Good for the Clippers. Let's just hope that this is the year he stays healthy, because I just want to see it, bro. I just want to see it one time where everybody's on the court, because that 2020 year, bro, I think if we didn't go into COVID, we'd have that championship.
Really? See, I don't believe that, only because we were peaking, but then we had that game against the Lakers on our home floor, and I felt like that was a playoff type atmosphere. And they just looked a little more connected than us, only because, well, I think LeBron and Anthony Davis is a better duo fit than Paul George and Kawhi. Just having a big and a ball handler to me is more ideal in basketball than two wings like that. Yeah. But the thing that the Clippers had going in our favor that year was we had 2 sixth men that were giving us 20 points a game.
Yeah.
But the mesh of talent in the Lakers was good. And I think the main reason why I think that was their year was Anthony Davis and LeBron were healthy the whole way, and Paul George was really injured that first year with us. That was honestly Kawhi's best regular season to me with the Clippers. I think he was amazing that year. Mm-hmm. But Paul George and Kawhi, to me, they finally had the best season together in 2021. I think that was the year where if Kawhi hadn't gotten hurt, man, we would have beaten Phoenix, and I stand on that strong. Would we have beaten Milwaukee? I don't know. But it's, to me, the best year the Clippers have had a chance to win a championship in the history of their franchise is 2020-2021 season.
That was that historic night against Utah in Game 6 where, you had people in the building. We were down by 17 in the second half, and I'm just like, man, we're going back to Utah. I remember walking out the turnstile. I'm like, we're going back to Utah. We ain't going to win this game. And then all of a sudden, here comes Terrence, man. Here comes Reggie. Here comes PG. Here comes Nico. So Mook.
Pat Bev.
That year was magical, bro. I don't know. I know that we broke up the team with Patrick Beverly left, but I really like to see us run that back another year, because he kind of was. He was kind of the voice of the team. Like, Kawhi and PG are super mellow guys. So you gotta have that guy to, jumpstart the car. You can't have two guys who are mellow as your star players. As much as we get on LeBron James, he speaks, he talks, he gets into guys, all that. So that's what's needed for a championship caliber team. I just wish we would have kept, Patrick Beverley on that roster. But
that's another player where you can talk about injuries hurting them, because that's why the Clippers didn't bring back Bev, is because he kept getting hurt. In 2021, he was hurt all the time. In 2020, like those 2 years, 2021 and 2020, those last 2 years of Bev, I would see a graphic all the time about Clippers record with Pat Bev versus without, because it was such a real thing, how much better we played with him. But he was becoming, the number of games without was becoming too high. And it was getting frustrating for me, because it's like when he plays, he has such a big impact on things. He was always injured, so then we ended up trading him for Bledsoe, but that ended up being the trade that got us Norm and Rocco, and we still have Norm to this day, so it wasn't all bad.
What do you feel?
Rocco led to James Harden, so
what do you feel is the biggest mistake as far as a trade that we've made in the last 4 years? Like which trade you
okay?
Yeah, like which is the biggest trade that you feel like was the biggest mistake?
Oh. Well, it's trade because I think the Isaiah Hartenstein thing was bad.
That was bad. Yeah,
that was bad. Then that wasn't a trade though. But again, I'm still going to stand on this. But I really don't believe that we should have traded for Harden, only because Kawhi hadn't proven he could stay healthy. So we just gave up assets for no reason, essentially. And by the way, BJ, let me ask you as a Paul George guy, if you had known that getting Harden was going to mean Paul George leaves in a year, would you have done it?
I was against that. Nah, man. I think Kawhi and PG are see, there's a thing. They're when they play together, they're dominant. 66% winning percentage. Only duel is higher than them in the last 5 years is Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. But you don't really see it because Kawhi is usually out in the postseason. But when they're together playing in the regular season, they're dominant. So that's the duo that you need to keep together. Now it's Kawhi and Harden. Whereas Harden's a one-sided player. Yes, he's a guy who, orchestrates the offense. Yes, he gets guys involved. He makes the offense look good. But that defensive side of the ball, he's going to get exploited. He's going to get attacked. And that's where you have to have two-way players. I think those are the most valuable players. The more two-way players you have, the more that you win. So I would have been I wouldn't even make that move. Because now, not just PG, but Bones, where do you put him?
Yeah, and it was a bad move for Russell Westbrook too. That made his whole year weird. So that was one thing. But let me ask you this: you talk about two-way players, and you and I are both like defense first the way we approach team building. Yeah. We have, even though we have Harden now, and he's not the defender that Paul is, we have more defensive-minded players on this roster than we did last season. We have Derek Jones, Chris Dunn, Nico Batum. Like now, Terrence Mann, and like essentially we have 4 guys that we have like ahead of Kawhi to guard the best players. You know what I mean? And that's a luxury for Kawhi.
Yeah. Yeah. So you got Dunn, Nico,
Terrence
and D Jones. Yeah. But so the only thing is like who's starting? Who's coming off the bench? So T-Man coming off the bench, because if he's coming off the bench, then that's another thing. His contract's up this year. If he doesn't have the year he's supposed to have, I think he's gone.
So you're starting Norm?
No, I'm starting. This is my starting lineup. It's going to be Harden, T-Man, Kawhi, D Jones, Zubac.
Yeah, that's what I think. That's what most people think. The question is, this is the thing. You talk about Terrence. He and Derek Jones got to let the 3 fly and make defenses pay, because Derek Jones was the worst 3-point shooter of that Maverick starting 5 outside of Gafford, obviously, who doesn't shoot threes. He is an improved shooter, but he's not necessarily a good one. But we got Derek Jones for other purposes, like also just defense, his athleticism. Like, when was the last time we had someone that could jump like that? Like maybe Blake Griffin. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, BG.
And then what's his name? Terrence. He had that huge slump when we first got Harden, and then he got it going in 2024. So his percentage averaged out to like 35. But if he's not letting it fly, because that's the big thing with Terrence. I think the most annoying part about Terrence Mann's game is that he hesitates from 3, even though he's not a bad 3-point shooter, and he'll pass up way too many of them. It's very frustrating.
See, that's the thing. I think he can shoot when Ty Lue gives him the authority to shoot, because you see when he gets the ball in the corner, what does he usually do? He pulls it between his legs and pulls it back. it's like it look like he's not authorized to shoot the ball, or if he misses a shot, then he'll be yanked. That's why I think it's like you got to give him the leash to be able to shoot those type of shots.
But let me ask you this though: do you really think it's Ty Lue? Because when Kennard was on the team, he would get mad at him for not shooting, and Ty Lue's big on like, spacing and stuff like that. So like, I've always thought it was just Terrence being hesitant because you saw like when he was missing, that was clearly a mental thing, like the slump, like that was crazy. You know what I mean? We know Terrence Mann can shoot. That was so. I think to me, he always shows he's a big time confidence player. Like so was I growing up. Like confidence is everything, but he has more like shaky confidence. That's just what I've learned about him in 5 years.
Offensively, he's not the most, I guess, sexiest, but I've always looked at him as a competitor type cat, like
for sure,
who ain't really scared of nobody. So I don't really know if it's a confidence thing. I think it's more so like, what do you want me to do on the court? What's my role on the team to be successful? Because Kennard was a shooter. I don't think Ty Lue views him as a shooter.
Well, but there's no other. Well, then the question is though, around James Harden, what else do you want to do? He's standing in the corner. You know what I mean? For a reason. Yeah. So to me, I'm not saying, okay, I think there's a difference between like being scared of other people. I don't think he's like intimidated by other people. I think he legitimately like just underestimates how good he is at shooting, like confident in himself. Like he downplays himself to me when it comes to shooting. And when it's going for him. So I just hope that this season he gets off to a good start shooting the ball, because then I think he could be headed for another like 38+% 3-point shooting season.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we'll definitely see. We've been seeing him in the lab. I've been seeing him, putting the work in. So I think T-Man will be good. But before we end the show today, bro, I want to ask you this last question. If there's one thing, your biggest wish for this upcoming season, what would it be leaving the season? What would your biggest wish be?
Definitely Kawhi Leonard healthy in the playoffs, just to see it one time.
That's it. All right, y'all. Y'all heard it from my man, Mr. DimeDropper. Thank you for showing up to my man. You know what I'm saying? Always welcome. Where can they find you guys on social media platform?
At DimeDropper Pod on everything, and then on YouTube, DimeDropper for all things NBA and LA sports and Clippers, of course. But Locked On Clippers also for all Clipper things 5 days a week.
Y'all heard it from my man. You guys gonna check him out, man. He'll be definitely coming back again more and more as the season progresses. But last but not least, check out all of our social media podcasts and platforms on YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. Last but not least, go LA Clippers. Peace.